All right, so we have this email, we composed it, we searched for an email, we learned how to reply, but now we have a whole bunch of emails in one big list and we need to organize it and to make some sense of all this. So to do that, we're going to go over here to this little gear sign. Here's all your settings. Now, a couple things in here. You can configure your inbox as to different types of things that show up. Google has some things it'll kind of filter out for you. Social things from like Twitter and Facebook and that kind of stuff. Promotional things, sales and ads and that kind of stuff. You can do this if you want to. It's not my favorite way to do it, but to each their own. All right, so I want to look into the settings. So in the settings is kind of all the things and features, things you can adjust, and there's lots of different stuff here. Don't get overwhelmed. By the way, on that first page in the general, if you scroll down about halfway through, there's your signature down there at the bottom. So a lot of people, that's one thing people like to set up. So that's your signature right there in that box. I want to look at labels because we're going to use labels to figure out how to organize stuff, kind of like tags. They're going to tag it in a certain way. So there's certain ones that come from the system. Some things in your inbox, it's start, it's important, chat, sent, draft, all mail. It kind of attaches that label to that message. There are certain categories that it uses in a certain type of inbox. Circles comes from Google Plus if you use that. And then we have labels down here. So I've made a few labels one for engineering, one for like parent, emails I get from parents, professional development, physics, PLTW, POE, Project Green, different stuff that comes up. They're like, think of these as folders. The email doesn't actually go into folders, but instead of a folder, use a label. So to make a new label, we click the button, create new label. Shocking, right? I'll enter new label name. I want to make a new label for Gmail training, because that's what I'm doing right now. It's what's on my mind. You can nest these under certain things, so I could put this underneath PD, professional development. So it's professional development, but more specifically, Gmail training, and that will show up, ta-da, under PD. All right, so you can do that. If I want to edit this, wait, no, I didn't want that to be under PD, or I wanted to name it something else. You can click on the name and change it. Or you can do this edit right here, and you can change this. You know what? I don't want to nest that. I want to make it its own label, all by itself. All right, so there's Gmail training, and I believe this alphabetizes these for me. So I can choose to hide that so it doesn't show up. So maybe I'm not using it right now, or I don't want it to come up on the screen. I'll leave it shown. I can have it hide it only if it's unread. So it's going to show it only if there are things that are unread. So if I do that, let's see on the left-hand side, you'll see this update like physics. There's nothing new with physics I haven't read yet. So if I go show if unread, physics goes away. And in fact, if I do that to all of these, then they only show up if there are new things in it. So I have one email from POE that I haven't read yet. All right, I'm going to go back to show because I organize things differently in my head. All right, so you can show these edit list. You can remove it here if you want to. So how these work, if I have an email, let's go back to inbox. All right. So me and Ryan have been talking about this Gmail training here. I just want to grab this. Oh, Gmail training. I have a label for that. So I'm going to find my Gmail training label right here, drag it over, drop it on. Now that has a label. If you notice, some of these already have one. This between myself and Kathleen about the core training has CEA, PLTW, POE, because they all have those things in there. If you don't want to do this yourself each and every single time, click and drag over, you can Gmail will do this automatically for you with certain things. So I'm going to go back to my settings. That's from the gear to settings. And instead of the labels, I want to do a filter. So basically, right now I have one that says, let's say, look at my PLTW one. I'm going to edit that. So it says, if it has the words PLTW in it, right, that's my criteria, I'm just going to apply the label PLTW. That's it. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You can do it for certain parents. You can do it for emails from anything, basically. However you want to organize this, you can do that. If you want to make a new filter, let's see, down here, create a new filter. And we have, if I want to make everything I get from Hallett, I want to set off and give it its own little folder, its own little label. So everything from her that has the words physics in it. So any physics things from Hallett. And you can do as many of these or as little of these criteria as you want. All right, create filter with this search. So what do you want to do with that now? I could skip it. I could just go straight to the archive so I don't read it. That's kind of rude. So I could just mark it as read. I could star it, which tells me it's important. It's another way to search it. I could apply a certain label, or I could automatically forward it or delete it, or make sure it never gets sent to spam, or always mark it as important, or categorize it as a certain thing. So you have lots of options here that's set up automatically to help you organize without spending a lot of time doing it. All right, so that was adding labels, and those labels show up here on your left. If I go back to my inbox, I could search for that and say, okay, all my parent emails. Click on parent, and as soon as it loads, it'll give me, here's all my parent emails. If I want to search for all the stuff about physics, again, I really haven't added anything to that, but so on and so forth. It'll help you search and sift through, filter out all these specific ones you need. All right, so that was labels. We created one, we edited it, we can organize, we can classify certain things with a different type of inbox, we can filter it out. And one last thing, the star here is basically, it's another filter, but it's kind of a way of saying, ooh, I use it like, hey, this is important, don't forget to do something about this. And basically, it's a built-in label. So here's all my starred items of things I need to, that need my attention. So you can use that as you will, but as I'm reading something, I was like, oh, I need to do something about that. That goes to my starred list. It's kind of like a to-do list. And you actually have more than one type of star. And if you go into your settings, if you wanted to get fancy, labels, starred. Oh, no, maybe it's on general. So many settings. Here we go. So you could actually do more than one kind of star if you want to cycle through and have different things for a different one. If I wanted to do all of the stars, then it would basically cycle through all of those. So if I go back to my inbox and cycle through, this would cycle through all the different types of stars. So I can say blue means a certain thing, or this is important, or that kind of thing. So again, it's another way to kind of organize and automate. You don't have to do all of this. You can do all of it. You can do none of it. It's just a way to organize. You're going to have to decide how you want to do that for you.